Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa News. My name is Felicity Ezewieke. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in China's capital, Beijing, to participate in the 7th summit of the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC 2018. President Buhari left Nigeria's capital Abuja on Friday for the summit after receiving the German Chancellor Angela Merkel at the presidential villa Abuja. Some of the ministers on the president's entourage are the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amici, Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, Minister of the FCT, Muhammad Bello, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enalema, among others. National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Comrade Adams Oshomole, has said that he has been vindicated on his comments that President of the Nigerian Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, left the party because of his personal ambition and not because he had the interest of the nation at heart. He said that Dr. Bukola Saraki's personal ambition almost destroyed the APC, adding that it is a good thing that the President of the Senate have moved on. The Nigerian Bar Association NBA has rejected President Muhammadu Buhari's comment that national security takes precedence over the rule of law. President Buhari had made the comment while declaring open the 58th Annual General Conference of the NBA some days ago. In its communique issued at the end of the conference on Friday, the association said it rejected President Buhari's comment, insisting that the rule of law was central to democracy and that national security must be managed within the parameters of the rule of law. The Deputy Director, Public Relations of the Theatre Command Operation Lafia Dole, Colonel Oyema Wachuku, confirmed in a statement on Friday that the Nigerian Army has killed several Boko Haram terrorists in Zari village in Guzambala local government area of Borno State. According to him, the insurgents were on rampage to loot the community and extort money from villagers. They, however, met fierce resistance by the land troops of Operation Lafia Dole, who were also supported by troops of the Air Task Force. The federal government says it has developed a $6.7 billion robust plan of action for the reconstruction, rehabilitation and resettlement of the Northeast devastated by Boko Haram activities. Nigeria's ambassador, permanent representative to the UN, Professor Tijani Bande, revealed this at a side event tagged Strengthening the Humanitarian and Development Partnership in the Lake Chad region, held at the UN headquarters. The Nigerian envoy said that the comprehensive socio-economic plan, known as Buhari Plan, aimed to advance the humanitarian and development nexus in the country, noting that Nigeria was spearheading the event. Top government officials and representatives present at the event were Magagi Lawan, Minister of Humanitarian Action and Disaster Management of the Republic of Niger; Alife Mustafa, permanent representative of Chad to the UN, and Michel Monte, the permanent representative of the Cameroon to the UN. In their separate comments, they pledged to promote cross-border collaboration and cooperation among countries of the Lake Chad region, the donors, and a whole range of humanitarian development partners. The National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control plans to strengthen its vigilance activities and spot checks to ensure consistent product quality. To achieve the mandate, the agency plans to place a 10-year limit on registration of imports and pharmaceuticals to encourage local production of drugs. The Director General of NAFDAC, Christiana Adeyeye, made that known at a stakeholders meeting tagged a date with the Director General NAFDAC on Friday in Lagos. Also speaking, Okechukwu Akpa, Chairman, Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Group of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, said that the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria had the potential to play a major role in economic development, improve the healthcare system, job creation and technological development. He urged the government to make the pharmaceutical industry a priority industry in the country. We'll be right back after this commercial break with more stories. Stay with us. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the efforts to curtail the outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus in the country appear to be working, according to the World Health Organization, even though substantial risks remain. In World Health Organization statement, recent trends suggest that control measures are working, citing improving figures for tracing patients' contact, rapid treatment of Ebola patients with therapeutic drugs, and vaccination of people at risk. The outbreak has so far killed 77 people in Congo's North Kivu and Ituri province. Among 116 cases, 15 of the cases were health workers. Two tortured Ugandan legislators have been cleared by authorities to travel abroad to seek medical treatment. The two are musician-turned-member of Parliament MP Bobby Wine, real name Robert Kagulani, and Francis Zake. Bobby Wine is facing treason charges for his role in an attack on the president, while Zake is said to have escaped from police custody. He is to leave a statement with police before leaving the country. The two legislators had been blocked from leaving the country on Thursday evening, with the reason that they had not gotten necessary permission to seek health care outside of Uganda. Ethiopian Airlines and the government of Chad have signed an agreement to launch Chad's new national carrier on October 1st. Ethiopia's state-owned flag carrier is in talks with a number of African states to acquire stakes and manage operations, a strategy aimed at gaining a competitive advantage against rivals such as those in the Gulf. On Friday, the head of Chad's Civil Aviation Authority, Mohamed Adjam, told Reuters the new company will be named Chadia Airlines, with the government owning 51% and Ethiopian Airlines the rest. When we return after this break, we have more stories for you. Don't go away. Outside of Africa, 18 people have been injured after a passenger jet skidded off the runway and caught fire while attempting to land in strong wind and heavy rain early on Saturday in the Russian city of Sochi. Officials said flight UT-579, a Boeing 737-800 operated by UT Air Airline, was carrying 164 passengers and 6 crew members from Moscow. The video shows fierce flames from the aircraft after it crashed through the airport fence and fell into a riverbed. A spokesperson at the Sochi airport said one airport employee suffered a fatal heart attack during the rescue operation. A bomb blast killed at least one person in a region of North Syria controlled by Turkey-backed Syrian rebel groups. A witness and a war monitor said 2 were killed and 25 injured in the explosion caused by a car bomb. Late United States Senator John McCain will receive his final public send-off Saturday in a nationally televised ceremony featuring eulogies from 2 ex-presidents. But with current Commander-in-Chief Donald Trump conspicuously absent from the proceedings, Republican George W. Bush and Democrat Barack Obama will deliver remarks honoring their friend and former White House challenger at a memorial service in Washington's National Cathedral. Mauritania's voters began to cast ballots in the country's parliamentary and local election earlier today. Polling stations opened at 7 a.m. local time and will close at 7 p.m. 98 Mauritanian political parties are vying for seats on the country's 146-member Legislative Assembly and on numerous municipal councils. Parties are also competing for seats on Mauritania's 13 regional councils. A high voter turnout was reported in a number of polling stations in the capital. Around 1.4 million Mauritanians are eligible to cast their ballot, which are being held in the absence of international observers. While opposition figures had questioned the integrity of the electoral process, the government led by President Mohamed Ould Abdelaziz Union for the Republic Party has promised to hold free and transparent elections. Israel welcomed the United States' decision to end funding for the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency, cursing the organization, which supports some 5 million Palestinians, of perpetrating the Middle East conflict. Israel and the United States have accused the agency of maintaining the idea that many Palestinians are refugees with a right to return to the homes from which they fled or were expelled during the 1948 war that accompanied Israel's creation, an idea they both oppose. On Friday, America, which until last year was by far the agency's biggest contributor, announced it was ending funding to the irredeemably flawed operation. Palestinian Ambassador Hossam Zomlot accused the United States of reneging on its international commitment and responsibility towards a body that was set up by UN General Assembly resolution in 1949.
Now, the U.S. may argue that it's American taxpayer money and they want to give or not give, that's their business. But my question to them, who gave them the right to undermine UNRWA? Who gave them the right to approve the stealing of Palestinian lands by the Israeli occupation? Who gave them the right to announce that East Jerusalem is part of capital of Israel? In the last 3 years, President Abbas has been spending 20% of our budget on our refugee camps in Syria and Lebanon, in terms of education, in terms of helping UNRWA, in terms of health, in order not to allow terrorist organizations such as ISIS to recruit our people there because of their needs. Now, with this cut, what does this mean? What does this mean to the stability of Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, West Bank, and Gaza, and the refugee camps?
Up next is our business report. Stay with us. Kenya plans to partner with the World Bank to increase supply of affordable houses. That's according to the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Charles Mwara, on Friday. Mr. Mwara said the Kenyan government will provide $20 million, while the World Bank will provide $160 million as seed capital for the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company to attend to the current deficit of 1.85 million units. He added that most of the houses constructed by the real estate sector were designed for middle and high-income earners, forcing the low-income segment to live in informal settlements. The Director General, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, Olusegun Oshinowo, has called on the federal government to develop more business-friendly policies that will reinforce the private sector to become the engine house of national development. He said apart from the growth inherent in such a process, it would also demonstrate the government's avowed commitment to improve ease of doing business in the country. He also lauded the agreement reached by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee to offer single-digit interest loans to operators in the manufacturing and agricultural sectors. This would boost development in the real sector. He, however, appealed that the loan scheme should also be extended to other sectors of the economy, specifically sectors that would create jobs for the teeming unemployed youths in the country. Nigerian carrier Dana Air has included a Boeing 737-700 aircraft to its existing fleet in a bid to cater for early traveler between Lagos and Abuja. The flight is expected to commence operation on September 10, which includes 2 daily passenger flights from Abuja to Lagos at 7:02 a.m. and 4:11 p.m. According to the airline's media and communications manager, Mr. Kingsley Ezenwa, there will also be a return service flight from Lagos to Abuja at 8:55 a.m. and 6:03 p.m. Still ahead on Plus TV African News is our roundup on entertainment and sports. We'll be right back. And in entertainment, former presidents and preachers joined a parade of singers Friday in a hip-swaying, piano-pounding farewell to Aretha Franklin, remembering the Queen of Soul as a powerful force for musical and political change and a steadfast friend and family member. Aretha's singing challenged the dangling discords of hate and lies and racism and injustice. The pastor William J. Barber II said her singing was revelation and was revolution. In a send-off, both grand and personal, a celebrity lineup of mourners filled the same Detroit church. Guests included former President Bill Clinton, former First Lady Hillary Clinton, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and Smokey Robinson. Late Friday, Franklin was laid to rest at Woodlawn Cemetery, the final resting place of her father and two of her sisters.
I say that because when word had went out that Miss Franklin passed, Trump said she used to work for me. No, she used to perform for you. She worked for us.
Her own very special category. Aretha's voice will be heard. Aretha's voice will be impacting. Aretha's voice will be influencing others literally for centuries to come.
Nigerian Afro-pop singer Innocent Idibia, who goes by the tag name Tubaba, has shared his thoughts on the forthcoming general elections in Nigeria. The music artist encouraged the youth to stop celebrating criminally minded politicians who are only out to loot public funds. He said, and I quote, "My advice to the youth is that we should begin to celebrate what is right. We should stop celebrating criminals. We should stop hyping people that have done nothing to benefit us." End of quote. He advised the government to improve communication with the masses. And Kenyan's dancehall king, Red Sun, is set to launch his new album titled The Baddest in 2 weeks at the Carnival Grounds. The concert will feature Jamaican dancehall artist Demarco, Nigerian pop queen Tiwa Savage, and Kenya hip-hop king Calligraph Jones. King Red Sun says that his friendship as well as previous music relationships are part of the reasons the artist will be performing at the concert. The award-winning artist explained his need to collaborate with artists who share his career visions and dreams. And that's it on entertainment. Up next is sports.
Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. In tennis, the US Open, Serena Williams made light work of her older sister, Venus Williams, as she won the long-awaited tie in 2 straight sets, 6-1, 6-2 in 71 minutes to reach the US Open 4th round in New York. The 23-time Grand Slam champion, looking to equal Margaret Court's all-time record of 24, had a medical timeout in the first set, but powered through, and she will play Kaya Kanepi in the last 16. And the 36-year-old champion earned her joint biggest victory over Venus alongside her 6-1, 6-2 win at Charleston in 2013 by dropping just 3 games. And Venus Williams said she thought it was her sister's best performance in their matches as they played their 30th match against each other. And still on tennis, defending champion Rafael Nadal dug deep to outwit his powerful opponent Karen Khachanov to win their thrilling US Open 3rd round match in 4 sets. And Nadal was a set and a breakdown before fighting back to win and will go on to play Nicolas Basilashvili in the last 16. And the 17-time Grand Slam champion, aiming for a fourth US Open title, needed all of his enormous will to win and tactical nous to see off Khachanov, who hit 22 aces and 66 winners. And the match ebbed and flowed throughout as it became one of the matches of the tournament so far. It was Nadal's first real test after not dropping a set in his previous 2 matches at Flushing Meadows. And in Formula One, Ferrari appeared to have a slight edge over Mercedes as the two teams prepared to dispute pole position at the Italian Grand Prix. And Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel headed Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton in final practice by just 0.081 seconds. And Ferrari have appeared to be the one to beat so far this weekend at their home track, the historic Monza circuit. And the second Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen was third, 0.173 seconds off the pace, while Hamilton's teammate Valtteri Bottas is struggling, fourth quickest, but 0.603 seconds off the pace. And Red Bull's Max Verstappen was fifth quickest, ahead of Haas's Kevin Magnussen and Force India's Esteban Ocon, and Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo, who will start the race from the back of the grid as a result of penalties for using too many engine parts. And Renault's Nico Hülkenberg and Sauber's Marcus Ericsson, who was past fit to drive after his huge barrel roll accident on Friday, will join him for the same reason. And that's all on Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Thanks, Udoka. And that's our news roundup on events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube page, and that's at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. So please join us again. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.